Another tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to talk about how to handle user inputs in our compose layout that we have created, compose screens. Okay, so as you can see, this was the screen, the compose screen that we created in our previous lecture. And if you see, if I type anything, right, you see it's nothing is being displayed here, right? So yeah, we are going to fix this. We're going to modify this application that we have created, and we're going to learn how to handle the user inputs and perform some certain modification here, right? So what we are going to do actually in this tutorial is when the user introduce a number here, like for example, if a user input like number 8 in this text field and it clicks the button click me, then the list items here will be modified and only 8 items will be displayed. You know, how much number you enter, that much of items will be generated here, okay, and populated here. Okay, so this is the what we are going to do in this tutorial, and we're going to learn by making these changes. We're going to also learn how to take handle user inputs. Okay, so but before handling the user inputs, obviously to handle user inputs we're gonna handle the state, right? So what is the first thing that you have to do is we have to declare the states, okay, that we want to handle, okay, for the user interface. So let me just close this so that we can have a nice overview. Okay, the first thing that you are going to do is obviously we're gonna modify this first compose screen that we created in the previous lecture. First we create screen state class. Okay, it's a data class which will like your my compose screen state. Okay, it's gonna take two states, that is item count and the items at first it will be a empty list, okay, by default. Okay, so first thing we create the screen state. Okay, and what next is we're gonna create another screen which is pretty much a screen that is only consisting of a screen like your screen content, okay, your compose screen content. So okay, before making that, I will just also like to give you an overview about there is a pattern that we have to follow usually in compose called state hoisting, and this pattern is usually what is trying to do, okay, it's like a guidelines for you to keep your functions as stateless as possible, and try to separate the stateful function in a different compose function. Okay, so this is the pattern. So of this pattern called state hoisting, so we're gonna actually, you know, this was the first compose screen, so we're gonna separate this one into two separate compose functions. One will be handling just the content, that is a stateless class which we are gonna have just contents. Okay, so we're gonna create this composable function called my compose screen content. Okay, so this will be stateless and just containing the content. Okay, and the next one will be obviously the second pattern will be the stateful or full class which will be doing state management. Why do we need this state management? Because obviously there are some states when we handle the user interaction, like obviously user is giving the input, right? So the input has to uh, be updated when the view will be should be updated, and the UI is recomposed with the new state, right? So this is for this reason we need to have a this kind of a we need to follow this pattern of state hosting to separate the content and the state management. Okay, so our content will first my screen will state welcome screen state. My compose screen state will consist of my compose screen state on item count change. It's pretty much taking a it's a lambda function. It's taking an input as a string. On button click, it is also a lambda function. Okay, so we just separate the content. Okay, right, like let's create a lazy column. And let's create the items in our column, which will be modifier. We will be consisting of a modifier padding 16 dp 16.dp guys. Okay, so and then similarly we can add all this string resources or dot string enter number. Similarly we will have the text field text field consists of my screen no the value actually sorry guys, it's the text field with the value of my screens my compose screen state dot item count, and on value change so here is the lambda. So on value change we are on item count change. Okay, pass this lambda function then we also need a keyboard board options. Your keyboard options will be keyboard options keyboard type is a number, and what else, we also need a button, and on click we'll pass on button click, and then your button will be consisting of a text which is like a string resources dot string dot click me. Okay, so yeah, we have this content and what next is we also need to update the our items when we get the new state. So our screen state, we get the items from there, and then we update our new list of items, right? We have to create a new list of items in the second row. So actually it's it will be consisting of a column and a modifier padding will be 4 dp, and here it will be pretty much vertical only, and we will have a text of each item, you know, like you pass there, and yeah, so this is it. Okay, so now what next? Yeah, so now we have created a separate compose screen content which is pretty much stateless, right? So now we need to create a stateful class. So so to create the stateful class, obviously composable function stay. Okay, it will be named as my compose compose screen. Okay, it's not a content, but it's a so here we will do all the state management. Okay, so but before doing the state management, let's understand that how can we remember our state, and what Jetpack Compose has provided us. Actually, in Jetpack Compose, and also actually it has to survive the recomposition, right, each time. So how can we do that? For the purpose of surviving this recomposition, Jetpack Compose has provided a composable function called remember. Okay, so to define a mutable state that will hold our value of that content. Okay, so let's create a state value which will be remembered in a mutable state of my your compose screen state, right? So you have a compose screen state, and we have to obviously import the values, and you have to import the values, yes. And okay, so and then we have to change now after we have declared our state. Obviously we have to implement our my like compose screen content. You update your content with your state, right, state values. So let's do it step by step. Okay, on button click. Okay, let's do it step by step. Okay, my compose state. Okay, what is here, what do you do here? As you can see here, my compose contains console my compose screen state, so you have to pass the state here, state. Okay, on item count change, what do? You have state your item count change, you pass the state dot copy of this value, right? Okay, 1 second. Item count change, the you pass the item count change to var, yeah, because it's a var. Okay, remember, so we have to import this one. And on button click, what we are gonna do with the button click is we have a state which will be state dot copy items which will be 1 to state item count and to int. Then we change this to a list. Okay, not this, to int. Okay, copy. So yes, 1 second guys. Yeah, actually we have missing here something. Yeah, just be careful with the braces guys. To list and map to, yeah, obviously to map we need to access the context, right, to get the to access the get string. So how do we access the context? Is we have a local context dot current, we get the current local context, get string, and we have our string dot format, and we pass the args. We have to pass this format arguments, that is it, right? Okay, so we have my compose screen. So let me just preview my compose screen, and so let's save, and I will render it, see if it's working fine. Yeah, it's working fine. We have the other list auto like generated on the basis of what the how many numbers the user inputs, right? Okay, let me yeah, before running the application, let me just comment this one from the previous one, and let's my compose screen, my compose screen, yeah, this is the stateful class which is doing all the state management and updating the content, right? So let me run the application, and here we will be okay, so we have this entering the number. Let's enter number 5. Yeah, we have the state in changed. So you see, now we can click check the like the see the number that we have entered. We click, yeah, you see it's auto generated. We have generated 5 items. Let's create 20, not 20, like 5, like let's create 8. You see it's 8. Let's create it 12. It's 12, you see, and everything is working fine, and we are able to handle the user interaction, you know, using this state management. And obviously the pattern that we implemented was called state hoisting pattern, right? Where we separate the stateless content class and screen, and compose screen, which pretty much manages the state, right? And that's it, guys, and thank you for listening, and catch you up in the next lecture. And please do subscribe, like, comment if you have any questions, and just chill out, guys, and thank you. Catch you up in the next lecture.